and they'll hear this panting and they'll think it's me. I'm so happy that you brought me on, Mr. Wood.
It's good to have you, Sid. Real good to have you. I'm just gonna get started here. My pre-stream preparations.
And ooh, that water looks nasty. I hate to tell you that, but
It's pretty gross.
oh, you know that. Okay. It's aged. It's like fine wine.
Yeah. I'm actually sorry that you had to see it.
Oh, listen, do you think I'm squeamish? I'm like, just, you putting that in your lungs? Or that's what I was thinking. I don't usually look at bongs because I don't smoke pot myself, right? So, but I just noticed how filthy that one looked.
Actually, the worst part about you saying that is that I recently cleaned this.
How does it get so dirty?
I cleaned this about 3 weeks ago. It gets dirty because you're burning tar. You know?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Into your lungs, you know? But what we do.
And I thought pot didn't have tar and all that disgusting stuff. I thought it was just a bunch of leaves.
It is definitely just a bunch of leaves.
With tar.
But there's tar in those leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, looking good. All right. Let's see if I can pull this intro off nicely here.
Oh my God, if I do this, he won't bite my hand, will he? No. Oh God, that's brutal. I haven't smelled pot since quarantine.
Sorry, I should have asked.
No, listen, I don't give a shit. In a few minutes, I'll be completely used to it. Don't stop, man. You let me smoke in here, so you don't. I'm sure you don't enjoy that smell. What the fuck was that?
All right, so that was attempt number 1 at that crazy intro. Hey, how's it going, everybody? That was my brainchild. Hopefully that intro wasn't too cumbersome for you. I'm going to try and smooth that one out in the future. But welcome, everybody, to Falling Wood, the show where I waste my time and yours.
And mine.
and today we're here with Sid Harlow. She's a wonderful woman who I met probably about a year ago doing comedy in Montreal. She's hilarious, and we've had hilarious talks together. And I decided to bring her on and chat about what her life has been like and how she's been living the last 3 months with the struggle that the rest of us have all been going through. So, hey, Sid, how are you?
I'm all right. It's not 3 months, is it?
It feels like it's been 3. It really does.
Yeah. Well, I'm all right with the quarantine. I mean, I'll sort of tell you what happened. I was sort of like forced into quitting smoking actually because of it.
Oh.
I'll tell you what happened. So I have, a second apartment where I used to see my clients. And I was trying to get rid of this space because I quit all that dominatrix shit right before Corona hit, not knowing that I would not be able to find a job. So I quit all that stuff and I'm trying to get rid of this client space. And I have a renter who's going to take over the lease. So he comes over March 15th. We had to check the appliances. He's not touching anything. And I'm like, oh, I'll just open the appliances for you. And we were joking, like, Corona, right? He's like, yeah. 2 days later, he phones me. I'm gravely ill. I must return to the States or go into quarantine. Like he was from the States.
Yeah.
I just hit my mic. Oops.
Sorry.
It's Ollie's fault. So I had to quarantine like pretty much right away. And then I had a cold, but I didn't know at the time that it was a cold. Like I had sore throat, bit of a cough. So I'm like, fuck, I've got Corona from this guy, right?
From that dick?
And I ran out of cigarettes during this and I couldn't go get any because I would contaminate the store clerk and so on and so forth.
How considerate of you.
So, well, I really did stay indoors and I literally was eating the Viet Cong diet which is rice with brown sugar, white sugar, maybe a bit of milk. I had no vegetables, but I had a shit ton of rice because I bought this big bag of rice when things started getting a little bit crazy before like everything got shut down, I'm like, Corona, whatever, I'll just get a big bag of rice, and if anything happens, I got food, right? So I was literally eating the Viet Cong diet, no cigarettes, no booze. Then I got tested 9 days later. I was negative. But now, like, so that was sort of my entry into quarantine. I'm like, well, now that I've quit, I might as well continue quitting. Although about 3 weeks ago, I had a few cigarettes and I bought I'm going to quit again. It was so great. My voice got better. I had no, like, I was saving so much money from the, not smoking. Because I'm like a pack to 2 pack a day. Like,
damn, a pack a day?
I don't inhale.
Ooh,
Two.
What do you mean you don't inhale?
I don't inhale.
You just put it in your mouth?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
I know, and I'm addicted.
You can't be addicted if it's just going in your mouth.
No, yes, you can. I'm proof positive because I've tried those e-cigarettes that have no nicotine. Doesn't work. So obviously, I think through my nose, I'm inhaling some of the nicotine. So I'm somewhat addicted, but I can't chew Nicorette. It makes me vomit.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You just smoke it in your mouth. That's intense for me.
Yeah.
So,
if you ever watch me smoking, somebody goes, "Are you just posing?" Like, I'm like, "What do you mean? Am I just posing?" He goes, "You're not even inhaling." I'm go, "I know. I'm not posing. I'm literally addicted to doing this."
Wait, so you get judged by other smokers for how shitty you're smoking?
A shitty smoker, and that I'm a fake smoker.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I'm like, I smoke more than you do. And I guess because I'm not inhaling all the nicotine, I can tolerate more of it. And I smoke about not more than 2/3 of the cigarette max. I'm just kind of like, and then.
So you might as well just be lighting fireworks.
I know.
Well, like what?
Listen to this, and I had this great idea, but it hasn't arrived in the mail yet. Do you remember those things called knitting mushrooms?
No.
When you were a kid? It's so fucking hilarious. It's like literally this wooden mushroom, okay? Looks like a fucking dick, okay? It's like a mushroom, and it's got these... I know, what a weird... I was thinking like, like this... So anyway, it's got you with a little stick, there's this knitting thing that goes through the hole in the mushroom, and you make like these long, skinny... It's absolutely useless, but you make these long, skinny things. What are you doing? Are you just turning something off? You make these long, skinny things. It's for kids, whatever. And I thought, here's like, what if a guy was constantly jerking off? So he's got like a facsimile of his dick, a wooden mushroom, right? And he could like, it could be for like people who jerk off too much. They have to idle hands, right? You got to keep, it's like a society for like
That's the
sex
main
addictions,
problem?
idle hands.
The main problem for somebody that jerks off too much is that their hands are bored?
You need to keep your hands busy, and usually addicts transfer their addiction to something else.
Yes.
Right? If they're alcoholics, they become heavy cigarette smokers. If you're a cigarette smoker, so you need to keep your hands busy doing something idle. Hence, idle hands, this knitting mushroom, right? Yeah. So I ordered one, but it hasn't arrived, and it said it might arrive by May 26th, but I ordered it over a month and a half ago, so I think I'll never see it.
Who's delivering that?
Oh, it's coming from Europe somewhere.
But who'd you order from?
Amazon, of course.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. Took that long?
I had a couple of things from Amazon that didn't arrive. Like, I ordered this really bare bones exercise bike, and it arrived, but the 3-year warranty never arrived.
Oh.
And I actually
but that's just
spent
like a digital thing,
3 hours. No, it never arrived, so I got my money back. Yeah, there's a couple of things that didn't arrive, just weird things. Anyway, because I've never ordered through Amazon before. I just don't order online until now.
It's crazy to me how Amazon has just gotten me adjusted to the fact that I can just have stuff. Like, I can just have stuff show up, like, right like the next day, like it's like you didn't do anything. It's almost like you didn't earn it. Like, it's like what happened?
I like to go to the store. I'm very old fashioned. I want to go to the store and see what it actually looks like, and that's the one thing about Amazon. And then you find out that you have to assemble the fucking thing, right? So, like, it took me about 3 hours to assemble this exercise bike, and it had like a million parts, like I opened the assembly instructions. I'm like, oh fuck, it was like 100 pieces. I swear to God, it looked like a 3,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. I'm like, fuck, right? But I managed to assemble it.
Yeah, okay, well, how did you put it? What'd you use to get it to put together? Like,
well, they provided certain wrenches and certain screws and pieces, and it was really, they're like part 85, and you're like, what's part 85? And there's like fucking 100 parts, like it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I assembled it.
Man, it's a weird, like I ordered like a couple of things like 2-3 days ago, and they just show up at your door, and I'm like, what the, like, how is it so easy for me to just acquire things, like coronavirus is a tough deal, but I essentially I shifted all of my buying to digital and delivery.
You'll go into debt before you get corona, trust me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, already there.
Yeah. Other than that, like, well, I'm looking for a real job now because I quit all my dom shit. Like, I shut down all my video clip stores online and everything, and I don't have backups of those videos. And then corona hit, and I went, oh shit, I should have just left those videos out. Like, I should have left the clip store open, because I hate my job so much. I find it degrading. I don't like it. I don't want to do it.
Oh, I didn't know that about you. I thought you were kind of empowered by it. I thought,
what?
Well, I mean, I
did you listen to my fucking stand-up or not? You did not listen to a fucking word of it.
I did listen to your stand-up, but
empowered by it.
You seemed a lot more empowered than I thought.
I have the most sarcastic, negative attitude towards that shit.
Well, I think that's empowerment. Like if you can be honest with yourself and use sarcasm on yourself, then you are empowered.
That is a mistake of a young person. That is not empowerment.
Maybe that's just how I deal with shit.
No. Empowerment is doing something that you're actually proud of.
Right.
Not being realistic, bitchy, and noir and dark about the fact that you hate your job and you're doing it anyways.
Okay, that's an interesting take. I really had the experience, at least whenever I heard you talk about your job or that work. The first time I actually heard you say something where you weren't like excited about it was when you told me about your family and that you took like more of like an artistic route than they had planned, that they were interested in seeing you do, and they didn't really support you on that.
Well, the artistic route was not the domination. That's not art. That's just fucking snuff, right? Or snuff. It's porn. Porn, what am I saying? Smut. Snuff and smut. Sometimes they're one and the same thing, but I have done faux snuff movies. But anyway, those are actually illegal. Even faux snuff is illegal. Snuff is when you kill somebody, right?
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of that book by the guy who wrote to Fight Club. It's called Snuff. That's like one of the only books I've ever read.
Oh, I haven't read it.
Snuff.
Throwback, because I wanted to read that book and I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
But artistic stuff is, I was actually trying to be an actor for many years. After I couldn't do ballet anymore because of the injuries, my parents wanted me to go to university and have a nice quiet life, being an accountant somewhere, right? But not in the cards for me. But the acting, of course, I only got a couple of paid gigs, like on TV, for like recurring role and a small recurring role in a TV show or whatever. And then nothing. My career never went anywhere. So I ended up being a stripper. That was artistic because it was in Vancouver, 18-minute shows.
That gave you like the mental reward that you were looking for?
Yeah, like, did I really want to show my pussy? No. I love striptease. I just would rather not actually show my freaking pussy. I find that's not necessary. But to get paid, you had to, right? But 18 minutes on stage, I'm doing crazy ballet shit, splitless in the air, pole work. I had props, all like whips, chains, guns, handcuffs. I would do very creative things. So that was creative. But then, of course, by age 31, 32, my body kind of broke down. I had a lot of back problems just from doing the crazy shit I was doing. Then I got like rheumatoid arthritis, so I couldn't do physical stuff. Then I became a dom, but that's not artistic. That's just, why it's not art? Is you're telling the customer what they want to hear, because they're there to jerk off, right?
Oh.
It's nothing. That's the whole point. Instead of seeing a hooker, instead of jerking off by fucking somebody, they jerk off by licking your feet or by being beaten or something like that, really? Or by being called a loser. So loser. It's so, I am their servant. There is nothing empowering or domineering or controlling about it.
Interesting.
It is the most servile. I feel so servile. I feel like a fucking hoe when I do that job. And I've been a hooker in the past, so I know that I know what it feels like to be a hooker. And being a dom feels the same thing.
I really felt as though that seemed like a point in the empowerment direction. I'm stunned to hear
What?
that. I really.
If you listen to my stand-up, I'm totally pulling the piss out of domination because I think it's a crock of shit.
Well, I remember the one bit I remember in particular, you talking about like pegging a dude with a big black dildo.
Yeah, and
that seems like you're having fun to me.
I was having fun
what?
about the joke was the guy asked me, I want you to rape me. Then he puts on a pair of knee pads. When did a woman ever get to put on a pair of knee pads before she got raped? Knee pads are not even the rape kit. Blah blah blah. I'm totally spoofing like his version of rape. Come on, it's totally how he wants it. And then it hurts too much. I got to be more gentle. Come on, that's not rape, dude. Do you want to get raped or not?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Sid.
That was the jokes. Maybe you weren't fully listening. People often don't really listen, I notice, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm not really bringing the material through. But also when I'm on stage as a comic, I can't be there being all negative and annoyed. People aren't there to hear me vent and be pissed off and to be complained.
No, I
so
get it.
It's a version of the truth. And maybe because I'm having fun with my jokes, you're not realizing how much I actually hate my subject matter.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think that because I remember a lot of your jokes and I remember specifically the emotions that they make me feel, and they're shocking mostly. I'm in general shocked by the things that you get up to.
I mean, I guess the point was not to shock, but that's because I'm not a good enough comic yet to let people in more on the fun and less on the shock, and that's something that if I get better over time, hopefully people won't just be focused on the what's she talking about, and they'll be focused on they can relate to it. It's hard to get people to relate to that material if they haven't explored kink or anything,
right?
And anyway, and also there's, I think, in a lot of shows, or I noticed this trend, that if you're gonna talk about sex, it has to be positive. And my shit is not positive because I'm not a sexual person. I'm not like, this is liberating. I'm empowered because I'm expressing myself. I'm not expressing myself. I'm expressing the customer's wishes on his behalf.
I get what you're saying, but you do have some freedom because generally your customers wish to be abused in some form.
But it's not abuse because it's only how they want to be abused. That's not abuse.
It's just like an amusement park ride kind of thing as a level of abuse. Like you go to get your ass kicked by a roller coaster. You go to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, it's how you want it.
So is that something that you want to share with people? I guess the misery that you experience with.
I want to share the hypocrisy and it's so dumbass, and that's what I'm trying to achieve as a comic when I talk about domination. Is how ludicrous and stupid the whole fucking thing is.
I can agree with that. I don't see the pull for it. I think I would struggle to take a situation seriously enough.
Oh God, do you know how many times I've just gone, oh my God.
And then you laugh at a dude?
Oh yeah, well a lot of them like to be laughed at, but some of them no, because I'm supposed to be cold, superior, and in command, and reveling in my feminine power.
Do they talk to you about what they're interested in? Like, do you end up with a meeting with them ahead of time, right?
No, they email me beforehand because what if most of them want to do sexual shit? Like they want to be forced to lick my pussy. What? Go see a hooker. Unless you're gay, there's nothing forced about you licking my pussy.
Right, okay.
Or they want to lick my ass. So I have to see an email because most of these people I refuse, right? Because I don't want to do what they want to do. They want me to shit in their mouth. I think I had some jokes about this. How the fuck do I know if I'm going to need to shit at 3 p.m. on Friday, August 15th? I don't fucking know, do you?
You got to save it up to shit in this guy's mouth.
I don't even shit every day. Like, it's so
dude,
stupid. It's
the whole realm is kind of twisted. I actually, I can't really wrap my head around it because I find when I put myself in that situation where I would if I were to call somebody up and be like, hey, I really like it when you pee on me.
Yeah, that's a popular fetish.
Can you pee on me? They'd be unzipping their pants. I'd be like, okay, I can't do it. Like, no,
you know why?
I don't see the impulsion.
No, there's something so fake about it. When it's natural. Let's say you and your girlfriend, or not necessarily girlfriend, girl that you're seeing at the time,
Like
you know,
shit escalates, and
shit
then all
escalates, and
of a sudden the
suddenly
bed's
you
soaked
find
in urine.
Whatever.
You're like,
it
"Damn
happened. It happened naturally, and in that moment, like it wasn't artificially contrived. Like you go somewhere at 3 p.m. Hopefully, you're still aroused and in the mood at that time on that specific day. You arrive at this strange apartment. You meet this girl that doesn't quite look like her pictures. She looks better in the pictures than in real life, as we all do. And then you have to somehow get it on, and oh, her voice doesn't sound right. Something not right. Oh, she's taller, fatter, smaller, skinnier than you thought she was. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So you're
none
dealing.
of it is.
So your clients also deal with like suspension of disbelief.
Yes,
in a
of
sense,
course, yeah.
Which I wouldn't actually have thought of.
And then they've seen a lot of my videos. Well, my video is 5 minutes, and it's edited and like, do you know what I mean?
It's a type 5.
And it's this guy. Yeah, it's a type 5, exactly. And, you know, this guy, if it's a strap on, this guy, I warmed him up. I don't just suddenly plunge into him. He'll scream. And, you know, like, if it looks like a violent rape, it's constructed to be that way. He's already agreed to it beforehand. He's warmed up when the cameras aren't running. Do you see what I'm saying? Then they come there. They can't even take my fucking pinky, you know, up their ass. Do you know what I mean? They're like, I want to be raped. And then they get scratched and they freak out. Like, come on, dude.
And then I mean, you would get paid anyway in that case, I guess, right?
I take the money right away when they're at the door. They don't have it. Bye.
Oof, wow, that's fucking pretty ruthless. That I mean, it makes sense. That's how business works. So that's not.
I'm not going to hope that they have the money at the end.
No. I mean,
it wasn't what I thought it was. I'm not paying you.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
off,
it. Because you might not even get what the satisfaction was that you were looking for.
Well, sometimes you really don't click with the client. It's just like being on an awkward date. You know, you're trying to get it going, and of course, I have to act like I'm, if not sexually aroused, at least amused by all this, at least excited. All of it bores the fuck out of me.
So,
you know?
Jesus, have you ever had a client that is expressing some of this to you, where they're struggling with the suspension of disbelief? Like, I didn't really.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay,
a little bit. I mean, usually some of them are just, they have no personality, and they're just they'd be a deadbeat on a date as well. You know, they just kind of lie there like a starfish. Do you know the term starfish?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like fucking starfish. No personality. They're not even trying to get anything going. They're just,
wow,
get me off in an hour, you know, like, fuck, man. Oh, I'm so thrilled. I'm so turned on by you. And wear some fucking deodorant, you goddamn asshole. You know, there's that too.
So there's like your experience of side of it too. Like that's like a lot of pretty hard work if you've got to try and get somebody off who is kind of grossing
like
you out.
I feel absolutely disconnected. I feel no sexual excitement, nothing.
Yeah.
I feel, in fact, disgust at myself because I don't want to be there.
Because
I'm a masturbation tool. Like, when you're a dominatrix, you are not even a person. You are a masturbation tool so this guy can get off. They don't see you as people.
So what do you say to the people or the sex workers who do feel empowered about the way that they...
Well, that's their choice. Some girls, like, are into it because they are very sexual. They actually get off on a guy being aroused by them. You know, like, some women are a lot more sexual than others. I happen to be almost asexual. So for me, none of this shit would turn me on, you know? I mean, when my husband was alive, he had some of these fetishes, and I would do them for him because I loved him. So I didn't feel degraded doing them. Was I into it? Not particularly, but because he also did normal sex with me, which I like from time to time because I'm attracted to him and I love him. That's fine. But some random stranger that I'm not even attracted to, it feels really gross. It feels gross.
Yeah. I can imagine that would be the case.
It's a total turnoff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stunned at even finding a way into that field, you know, like, because every guy has like a kind of a dream that they'd like to be a gigolo maybe here and there, or at least at one point you might have that dream, right?
Yeah, of course, a passing fancy.
As soon as the reality sets in,
you're like, oh, fuck,
what I would
sucks.
actually have to be doing, like, no, I wouldn't want.
Yeah. You're not going to be attracted to every client. What, are you out of your mind, you know? Yeah.
And I mean, the other one is like, there's a whole confidence factor that
I don't find it takes confidence at all.
No?
Just discipline. I'm not confident about my looks. I don't give a shit. I just do it. And maybe that's confidence, not giving a shit, but I don't feel like, this is the other thing I hated about it. A lot of these guys want me to be like this entitled Uber bitch who's really into herself and just totally getting off on herself and like, oh my God, I'm so hot and can't you tell, you know? And I find that really embarrassing that I have to portray myself as this shallow cunt. Personally, I don't think I'm very good looking. I'm okay, do you know? But I don't like go, oh my God, look at myself in my lingerie. Hey, bitch, you know, like, you don't need to have that. Maybe it helps if you really believe that, and it helps if you're slightly sociopathic and really get off on draining money out of people. But I'm not a materialistic person, so money, I don't give a shit. As long as I can pay my rent, sometimes go out, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to buy all this shit and buy a house and buy a car. I don't give a fuck. So none of this is motivating me. Do you see? I'm the wrong personality. But some women do, and I'm not saying they're shallow cunts, do get off on exciting men sexually, and they get a thrill out of it.
The self-image seems to be strong with a lot of attractive women who I meet. They like, I guess this idea of not being able to leave the house without a certain level of presentation.
Oh God, yeah. Well, is that confidence, or is that just, you know, they want to live up to the image they've had on men, and it's like it's a stress on them to not meet that image, that standard, right?
Burden.
Yeah, like, I mean, we all have a bit of that in us. Like, I know I'm on TV, whatchamacallit, internet. So I wore makeup. But around the house when I'm grocery shopping, I don't wear makeup. Why? Who am I trying to impress? Nobody. But I have a certain level of vanity where here I am, made up, because I know, you know, that I'm going to be on.
So I found as a kid, whenever I would take pride in something that I was wearing, or I would dress up myself, I always had some individual in mind who I was trying to impress, right?
I think, yeah, I see what you're saying.
It was always like, oh, she's gonna like this, or oh, that guy he'll finally see I'm like, I have money or something.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah. You know what I do? What I like to do, like, let's say I don't really go out here, but when I was in Vancouver, there was a strip bar that I love to go to, the Penthouse, my favorite strip bar. This first bar where I was a headlining stripper. It was the first bar in Vancouver. I just love that place. I love the staff. It's a lot of the same old people that are still there from when I used to strip. And I always dress up a bit there. Like, I don't have anybody in particular that I'm trying to impress, but I do like to, when I go out for fun, it's like a game. Like, I'm playing dress up. Not that I'm trying to meet some guy. I'm not. But I don't know. There's some fantasy element of going to a bar and
maybe something crazy will happen. And I want to look my best when it does. Right.
Do you know?
Right.
But I'm not looking to get picked up. I find it annoying when somebody's trying to pick me up, unless on the off chance that I happen to be horny, which is very rarely. And the guy is attractive and I like him. Okay, fine. But most of the time, you know, I just want to like flirt a bit maybe and then fucking leave by myself, you know?
Do you find that there's a lot of situations where you end up in that you don't relate to fellow women on that subject?
Yeah.
Do you ever need to, I guess, like, have you ever found friends who you could like share that with, or are they mostly like guy friends that you end up sharing that struggle of, not appreciating?
Well, I used to never talk about it at all until about 5 months ago when I did a set about not liking sex. I mean, of course, I was a bit more exaggerated in my set, but it's not that I don't like sex. In general, I don't like it. With the right person, it's all right. But I don't see what all the fuss is about, to be honest.
I mean, geez, you make it sound so good when you put it like that.
I don't really talk to women about it. I mean, my twin sister feels the same way, but she's even worse than me. And she has other issues, which we just fight a lot, so we don't talk too much. But no, I don't really tell other women about it. I might mention it, but nobody seems to really most people seem to really enjoy sex a lot and they look for it, you know? So I feel like not a lot of people can relate to it, which is understandable because most people are not asexual or close to being asexual. Yeah.
I've noticed a little bit of that myself, where I don't feel as sexual as most other people.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes that it's frustrating to see others who are completely driven by it. You know,
I know.
will sacrifice many things in the face of just getting a one night stand or whatever. And I'm like, man, that hurts. You know, that sucks.
Well, sometimes I wish I was a bit more normal because sometimes I do feel a bit lonely, but I don't want just some guy around just to have a fucking guy. Like when my husband was alive for 6 years before he died, right? We lived together and we both worked from home because he was also in the sex trade, right? So we both worked from home and we were around each other all the time and it was wonderful. And when he was gone for like over 4 hours, I would kind of miss him, you know? But all before that in my life, I was always single. I never had a boyfriend, never had a relationship. I did one night stands and that was it. Or maybe a few men I fell in love with and I fucked them more than once, but they didn't want me as a girlfriend, right? So I was used to being alone. And after my husband died, it took me a little while to go, oh my God, I'm alone again. And then sometimes I find it's a bit too much. Like with this quarantine, I'm well suited to quarantine because I'm not that social and I'm used to always being by myself. Yeah. But sometimes it gets like, I was just killed to go out to a bar, maybe Grumpy's, listen, not on a comedy night, but like when there's no comics there and just musicians.
And just talk to somebody about nothing. You know?
Yeah, and just like have some drinks and laugh and have maybe a few too many shooters and leave at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., you know?
Yeah.
And just go home and just be, man, I had a fun night meeting people I probably will never meet again, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So I miss that. So I do feel a little bit lonely sometimes. Like this is a bit too much isolation.
Yeah.
But I don't like having I could not live here with all these people. I could not do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice as they are,
we mind our own for the most part. We do get daily interaction, obviously, but
in the kitchen or something.
Yeah, but for the most part, I do kind of stick to this area, like in here, and it's kind of separate from everything else. But I also feel like I kind of relate to that fact where like I feel like I could do more isolation, you know. I do have the desire that you were saying to like go see people. Yeah. And I think that's probably why I'm going to be inviting a lot more people in.
Yeah. Well, you can invite them on your podcast.
Well, that's the game plan. But I do also think that for some reason something about I don't know my brain chemistry or what's going on in my head, I'm just prepared to just stay focused on just nothing, or just like, okay, you're just inside, just let time pass for another 6 months, you know? Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure if I put my mind to it, you could just waste a year. You could just have a year disappear
easily,
and not be too worried about it.
I thought of that too. Well, I'm used to being alone for like long periods of time, and when I wasn't doing comedy, after my husband died, I was alone most of the day, you know, other than having to meet people for executor duties. Because I was executor of the estate, so I had to do all the like meetings with banks and selling his stuff and doing all that stuff. I was alone for and I wasn't seeing customers as a dominatrix. I was just doing videos, me talking to the camera. So I wasn't seeing people really at all for about a good 6 months until I had to get a third job, you know, executor. I wasn't getting paid right away, but it was a job. Because I wasn't making enough money, I had to start working in a retail store, but that didn't go out very well.
Being the executor of your husband's will had income with that?
They pay you a percentage of the estate when the estate is settled. It took 2 years to settle the estate.
Right.
There was a lot of complicating factors, missing prohibited weapons. The police got involved at one point.
Whoa.
His second wife, who ran away from him that he divorced years ago, was still on a life insurance policy, but she disappeared, and there was all this shit going on with the estate.
Did he have any tigers? Like
no tigers.
Jeez, that sounds like a really interesting story.
It was a nightmare. Like, and I had to pay for everything out of my own pocket because all his bank accounts were frozen. I had to pay $35,000 out of my own fucking pocket. I had to get bank loans, and like I didn't even know if I was going to make the money back because it was an old house, really about 100 years old, with it possibly had an oil tank, which we didn't know, and if it had leaked or an oil tank, it would have been huge expenses, and there was a huge mortgage on the house because he was in major financial problems, and I was not on the title of the house. Thank God, I was going to have to pay the entire mortgage the whole time, $2,000 a month mortgage. So I paid $900 a month, which is what I paid him when he was alive. I would pay him rent, so to speak, right? Like we were common law, not
like unified or whatever.
Not officially married. So we were common law, but we referred to each other as husband and wife. And I'm, like I get a widow's pension now because common law does count. Oh. But we decided not to put me on the name of the house because the bank could come after me. And sure enough, the house was almost foreclosed and I had to get money from the banks, and it was and then the sewers burst in the basement, the furnace broke in the winter, like it was just and I had rats and mice. Oof. All at once. Just and a squirrel for 4 days.
All the problems.
Yeah, all the problems
you
happened.
Had them stacked up.
It was a brutal executorship. Oh my God. Oh, there was other shit. All the shit that went on. It was just then dealing with a very religious family.
Religion always is the worst. Gets in the way. It's so strange. I spent a decent amount of time in church over Christmas, actually.
When you visited your family.
Yeah, and I haven't actually been back to church in a really long time, probably like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And we did the whole Christmas mass thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was just standing there, everybody's kind of like singing songs. I'm like, this is the fucking weirdest karaoke that I've ever been to.
Like, did you feel any sense of spirituality, or did you just kind of feel like
No, I felt a sense of performance,
a sense of performance.
I felt like I kind of want to make everybody laugh because everybody seems so like tense and just like we're here to respect the Lord, and I was like, this should be fun, I'm not having fun, and doesn't look like any of you guys are either.
But like once you guys got out of the church and you were at home having dinner, was it a bit more loose and relaxed there, or
like I can be honest with my family, yes, for sure. That wasn't that big of a problem, but the crazy part for me was just realizing that I never ever took this seriously.
Yeah.
Like even as a kid, I would be there at Sunday school, like reading through whatever I needed to read through, and it was just like I was like, what am I doing? Like, what is this?
Well, I barely spoke English. So I'm from Belgium, right?
Okay.
So English is my third language, and I had just starting to learn English. I was 6, and my father's family was very religious. My parents weren't, and so they kind of enrolled us in Sunday school just to keep his grandma happy, I could barely understand what the fuck was going on. I barely spoke English.
Right.
It's just so boring. Sitting there.
What do you mean he came out from a rock? What the fuck?
No, I remember understanding that Jesus lived in a mud hut, and I thought that was pretty fascinating. But luckily my parents pulled me out. But I remember I was born in a convent hospital. My great aunt was a mother superior, and she directed this hospital. And so I was born in that convent hospital, delivered by my great uncle Valère, after whom I'm named. My real name is Valérie.
Oh.
And
beautiful name.
Yeah, it is a nice name, isn't it? But I remember when we would go visit Belgium, we had to pretend that we were still going to church and stuff. And I'm like, but what if she asked me questions? Like, I don't know what to say. Yeah. Like, how do I answer? And I remember one time my grandma was starting to quiz me about something about church, and like I couldn't answer, so I pretended that my Dutch wasn't good enough to answer.
Oh.
But I really understood her question, and I didn't know what to say. And they would always give us cards, like we get cards for our first communion. Never done it, like they still sent us religious things. Like
so you pulled the old no hablo anglais.
Well. I remember saying, "We verstaan het niet heel goed." Our Flemish was pretty basic, but I was like, "We verstaan het niet heel goed, grandma." Like, we don't quite understand, you know. But I understood perfectly well what she was saying.
Right.
But I didn't know the answer.
Sneaky.
And so I'd be always nervous, like when we first arrived, that there would be religious questions, you know.
I had some of that, I guess, when I was in French immersion.
Oh, you did French immersion also.
Oh, it was terrible too.
I was really good at French. I picked it up naturally.
Oh, it was gross.
I loved
didn't like
it.
any of it.
Oh, I loved it.
How did you like it? That's so gross.
Well, I read in French before I read in English, so.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And I mean, I guess being Dutch or
from Belgium, you tend to, people will teach you French pretty quick. Yeah.
So you're from Belgium. What are the people of Belgium called?
Well, you're either Flemish, like me, so you speak a dialect of Dutch, or you're Walloon and you speak French.
Walloon.
Yeah,
Walloon or Flemish.
Yeah.
Really interesting words I've never heard before.
Yeah.
Walloon.
Walloon or Flemish. Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's cool. So you're
Most
Flemish.
people assume that if you're in Belgium that they just assume that you speak French, but that's half the population does not speak French.
They speak Walloon.
Flemish.
Yes.
Walloon is French. I know it's hard to.
Walloon is French. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. And so yeah, I guess what I struggled with in French was that I just didn't like it the whole time.
Really?
Every moment it was just misery. We learned it all grade 1 to grade 6 was all math.
Yeah.
All math was in French.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then after grade 6 to grade 8, it was 2 years that they gave us where they were like, "Hey, high school math's going to be in English. Here you fucking
go." Yeah, and
go."
science became in English.
Yeah. And I was pissed. I remember being pissed off. I remember being like, "Why? Like, I have to relearn all of these terms. I have to discover. I have to wrap my head around all these new concepts in English now."
Yeah.
It was just so aggravating. So when I went to grade 9, I dropped it. I literally was the most experienced French kid in my class, had the lowest mark in the class.
Yeah.
Because I was just mad and bitter. I was just like, yeah.
Well, I got to get out of it because, I mean, not that it didn't matter to me, but in grade 11, I went to a art school where I would only go to school in the morning, and then I would do ballet all afternoon because I was going to be a ballerina, right? I was almost professional till I got injured.
Oh.
Yeah, ballet was my dream, dance is my passion. Like everything, all this comedy, acting, whatever, it's not really my natural talent or ability.
I did notice that you moved very gracefully on the dance floor when I saw you.
Yeah, that's just me fire. But so I got to drop. They didn't offer French immersion, so I didn't have to do French anymore. And I just did like 3 courses. I just did the bare minimum amount of courses to graduate high school, which was fine by me.
Yeah, I didn't. I almost didn't. My English course was the last one. I was so bitter. I didn't like French or English. Most like
loved English. I guess I love languages. I hate math and all that stuff. I don't like it.
It's interesting because I see math as a language kind of.
Although, like, I'm okay. I'm good at math, but I'm not naturally a numbers person at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was constantly frustrated with languages. I
love it. I love the ambiguity, the double meanings, the gray instead of I don't like white and black. I love gray. Like, you know how math, there's an answer, there's a thing, I love it when it's gray and undefined.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a big black and white.
Yeah, you're a black and white guy. Yeah,
for sure. But I will never forget the comment my teacher made on my English class final report card.
What did she say?
It was a guy. He was the head of the entire English department. English department. So he could really do nothing wrong. So I remember I had a conversation with him. It was about 3/4 of the way through the year. We were just about to hand in our final big essay.
Okay.
And I was like, look, I'm struggling here. I've been struggling this whole semester, I don't feel like I've been able to focus. I've kind of been struggling with maybe a drug problem here and there.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can understand. I think it's commendable that you're being honest with me and that you're here talking to me. He was like, just write the essay and you'll get 75. And I was like, what? You can do that?
Oh, that's so cool. Maybe just because you were honest, he was so impressed that you weren't coming with excuses.
Maybe that was it. But at that point, I really didn't have any. There was
There was no excuse.
But
really,
the comment that he left, he was like, Alex has shown a considerable disregard for, I guess,
languages
and just like discipline for this class overall. This final mark does not represent Alex's input for the course for the semester.
Oh, why did he bother saying that?
I was just like, whoa, like he just hit me hard, you know. Like, what do I do? But like, yeah, that one stuck with me because it was just so clear that he was like, look, you're getting a pass on this one, and you didn't earn it. And I was like, woof, like that was a real moment for me. And I was like, okay, you probably should.
Well, you know, with my parents, I had to get straight A's. My dad literally told me, no A, no ballet, because they were very against me wanting to be a ballerina.
Oh, and so they held you back early.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So you got into dance how? Because your parents didn't...
Actually, ironically, because my mom felt that me and my twin sister were too tomboyish.
Okay.
And we wanted to be boys and shit like that, right? And like, I love physical action and physical movement, and
talk like I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm talking as though Alex is here right now. He actually just stepped out. And his dog just came in. I did tell them that you snuck out for a second.
Okay, that's all right.
Our audience won't be offended, I'm sure, if they're still listening to this.
Just dealing with...
I forgot what I was talking about. What was I...
ballet, how you got into it.
Oh, my mom, yeah. I was too tomboyish, so she put me in ballet, and I very quickly really got into it. The physicality, it's very physical.
Did she find it made you more feminine?
Well, in her mind, you know, ballet, when you think of a ballerina, you think of a feminine, graceful
I can see how she would have thought that, but did she notice the change that she was looking for?
Yes. But I think with me, my sister was very tomboy. She's a lot more butch and a lot more, like, she refuses to wear makeup and all the shit. She's taken it way too far. I'm like, you might as well just be a dyke at this point. But... but whatever, that's, you know, I'm being flippant right now, but we fight over this stuff all the time. She always gives me digs for like wearing makeup when I go out or something. It's whatever.
One of those vegans correcting everybody.
Yeah, she's correcting me. She's bitter that I'm like worried about my weight and all this. She's like, you're just playing into men's hands. And you know what she told me? She's like, why'd you always rely on men? Always rely on men. For 6 years, I'm 44 years old. I had a man in my life for 6 years. The rest of the time, I was just as single as you were, cunt. You know what I mean?
What made her...
Relying on... I killed my own
disdain
spiders.
For your sister.
Oh, we fight. No, we fight bitterly now.
Okay,
it's
so
bad.
we're
actually doing an art project together. She's got a big project that I helped on. So we're going to be in close quarters May 25th for about 10 days filming this thing. I hope it doesn't come to blows.
So what caused your sister to say that when she was like, why do you always depend on men? Or why you so dependent on men?
She finds me very needy and incapable of doing things. She finds me very stupid because I'm not good at computers and all it goes
was it one moment that she pushed it on you, or like just...
Oh, this has been going on for 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of bitterness from... See, she hated ballet, but she didn't dare to quit because she thought that I and my mom would lose respect for her if she quit. And because I was much better at it, and often she would hold me back. Like, I would be bumped up a class, and then she would get in trouble by my mom, and then my mom would pull us out because I was getting all the attention and the good roles, or I'd have to give my role to my sister. Like, it was brutal.
Wow.
I just wish that she would quit ballet so that I could just be done with having to worry about her and me,
and
that she
life.
was not good enough, that I just didn't have to think about it, you know?
Yeah.
And she wouldn't fucking quit.
It sounds like your parents struggled to let either of you guys live your own life.
Yeah, little bit, yeah. But I love ballet. It was my religion. It was my dream. Like, I wish I could find... This is my big regret in life, that I can't find something that I'm just as passionate about.
Right.
Comedy is... This is ballet. Comedy is beneath this fucking floor, okay?
Right. It's something that you enjoy more than most of the other things, but...
Yeah. It's not my... You know what? Because I know it's not my real talent. It's not my real strength. It's not... what I can offer the best of myself is not that.
So you were moving up the ranks in ballet.
Yeah.
Did you reach a point where you felt like you kind of broke free from the whole sister mom thing, or?
No, because what happened was, so I got accepted to many schools, like the National School of Ballet in Toronto, which is the biggest ballet, the number one ballet school in Canada, the Winnipeg School, Royal Winnipeg School, and also le Grand Ballet de Montréal du Québec, their school. But my parents wouldn't let me go until I graduated high school a year early because I skipped a grade. So I was 16 going on 17 when I graduated. But I already had severe Achilles tendonitis and the beginnings of arthritis in my feet. Oh. So I was totally injured, way too injured for a 17-year-old. Like I had turned 17. But I thought, because I'd had tendonitis before, it's very common to have tendonitis and problems with your feet or knee problems as a ballerina. That's why a lot of people don't make it as professionals. Their bodies break down. It is really tough on the body.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, and whatever I did, I could not. So they said, you have to get into a professional ballet school or you have to go to university. And they knew that with me being injured, how the fuck was I going to audition? I could barely even point my foot. You know what that means when your foot is arched like that? I couldn't stand on point, whatever. I sent a tape of myself. I had performing before I was injured, and they accepted me on that. So when I went to the school of Le Grand Ballet Canadien with my sister in tow, because she didn't want to go to university, so I was kind of disappointed she came along, I pretended that I had just gotten injured, and they were very angry because they felt like, well, we accepted you in the school based on this, and you can't even point your foot. You're totally injured in class.
Right. We
could have given someone else your spot. So finally, the injuries got worse and worse. They didn't get better. I did physio, everything. I was miserable. It was hell. I finally quit. And then I developed arthritis in my feet. So
that's a sad story.
Sorry to hear so I never got to be a pro, though I easily could have been. And so my dreams were smashed. And I never found a substitute. I never did.
Yeah. I think I had some of that experience also for sure.
With what?
Baseball was a big one. I played really pretty high level when I was young.
Yeah.
And there was a team that offered basically to move me and my family to Michigan.
Cool.
And it was going to be like a whole, basically we would have to uproot my whole family and move them there just so that I could play ball with this elite team that was really good. And I liked baseball a lot, but I think I was too young to know that there was other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then by the time I caught wind of knowing that there was other stuff out there, I felt like I was so focused on baseball that I couldn't quite find the other passions that I wanted, the other things that I was excited to do. And ever since I don't think I've, like you've said, I don't think I've found something that I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
The same way.
I wish I was addicted to comedy. It would make it so much easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the motivation to continue would be there. The bombing wouldn't affect you so much. Yeah. You know, like it wouldn't be such a up and down. Well, maybe I say that, and people who are addicted to it still have the up and down roller coaster. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think it would probably still be there for sure, but I think that the
that
determination, wouldn't be as hard to find.
It's because in ballet and same with stripping, when I was a professional stripper, and I did these really intricate 18-minute shows, I knew I was good. Like, I always had that confidence of I'm good at this. Like, even if I suck tonight, I'll improve, I'll be better. I know I will be the best. Yeah. Like, I had that feeling in myself.
Like maybe
I just don't have that in comedy. I don't feel I'm that great. I mean, sometimes I have a great night and I've even killed a few times. But do I feel like I'm this great talent who's going to go far? No. I can't even begin to convince myself of that. Do you know? So it's hard to go up there when you feel like you're not that good anyway. There's not that inner belief, that driving passion of I'm good at this and me. I will become superlatively great, you know?
Like, I look at somebody who's clearly hooked on this, like Walter or Vance, you know?
Yeah.
They live and breathe it for the sake of only living and breathing it, you know? Like, it's really fascinating to watch those guys.
And I envy that.
Yeah. To be hooked on it like that would be wonderful. I'd love that.
Like, I do it because I love performance in front of people, and I can't dance because I'm too fucking injured. So what's left to do? Acting is too annoying because you rehearse. Theater is not really, I was a good actor, but theater is not really my passion either. I thought, well, comedy, I want to say my own thing. I want to express myself. So I chose comedy because it doesn't cost anything. I just got to be funny. That's the problem, you know?
Yeah, that's the continual problem.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's going to be more, you got to find a place to perform because.
Yeah. Well, yeah, how are we all going to get back?
I don't know. I think something interesting that happened right before Corona was I seem to have noticed a big surge in new comics. There seemed to be
yes, so did I actually.
With Asher and that whole kind of crew that kind of popped up. They seem to pop up right before everything kind of hit the fan.
Yeah, you're right.
So I wonder where we'll end up on the other side of that. You know, I wonder who ends up continuing to find places to perform. I was trying to think
ways to perform.
That's it. I was trying to think of it the other night of like a way that we could reach out to like bar owners individually, you know, and like, hey, like I'm sure you'll be looking for some people to perform when we come back, you know. But then I kind of thought about it. I was like, nah, they're not going to be looking for people to perform because everybody needs a place to go right now. Yeah. They're not going to be looking for ways to fill their bar because everybody wants to go out right now.
And you know, the other thing that kind of stops me too, like what I don't do, like on my YouTube channel that I started, the Too Late Now thing that you checked out there. I do episodes where I'm talking kind of like us right now, right? But it's not stand-up comedy because I feel like I'm not going to try new bits because it doesn't work when I don't have a reaction. I can't tell if it's good or not.
There's nothing to test it on.
There's nothing to test on. So I'm kind of spinning my wheels trying to write new sets. I'd rather just chat and try and be entertaining, kind of like a talk show house, but there's nobody there, you know? That's kind of where I'm at, and maybe do some funny videos. Oh God, I'm speaking of funny videos. I tried to do something funny about conspiracies. Remember I told you that? It wasn't very good. I did it. It's called Conspiracies Are Us. It's on my YouTube channel. It kind of missed the mark. If you see it, you'll see. It's a great idea, but I couldn't. It's not. My other videos are better. Like, it's not very funny. I thought it was funny when I did it. And then when I looked, I'm like, I could totally see. I won't explain why it doesn't work, but if you see, you'll kind of be like,
go check out Sid's video. Tell her comment. Go check out Sid's video and comment. Tell her why it doesn't work.
Not that one. Check out the other ones.
Too late now. It's
the ones with the stripper boots and the eggs is funny, and the other ones are way funnier. I want to do another one. And I want to shoot it all on my phone just for practice. Hose Without Makeup. It's like a spoof on Doctors Without Borders. Like cheap sex where it's needed most. You take all the overhead out, right? Like no silicone, no Lancome, no,
You know, like no pimps, no.
Yeah. Like you take all the overhead out, and so you get cheap sex for where it's needed most. Yeah.
And in like third world countries, or
no, here, like they don't wear makeup, they don't have their boobs done, they don't do their hair, so it takes all the overhead out. So instead of
is it that much more expensive for a prostitute to wear makeup?
The joke is all the time it needs to get ready. Like, because people be like, "Can I see you right now?" Like, what? We just roll out of bed, totally fucking ready, and like all that Botox and all that. That's a lot of fucking money. Like all the beauty, especially as you age, the money you spend on beauty. That's passed on to the customer.
That's funny to make that the largest part of the exchange, right? Like, instead of
all you should be paying for is me rolling in and out of bed. Yeah. That's all you should be paying for, not all the other shit.
The budget plan.
Yeah.
A budget hoe?
Yeah. No, hose without makeup.
Hose without makeup. We got your budget hose over here.
Yeah.
We're the hose without makeup.
So I'm going to do something to do with that. I want to do something on that. Yeah.
Wow. Just set the bar low.
Yeah.
That's a funny premise. I could go on that.
Yeah. It's a good idea. It's just.
What if you just took it to like other places, like mechanics that don't know anything?
Well, I don't know anything about mechanics, and how do I shoot it? Like, I don't have anything.
Well, no, I guess I'm just riffing on the bit now. Like
riffing on. Yeah, you could do a lot, like mechanics without like
professional tennis players,
actors without talent, or I mean that's a little bit artists without talent, or I don't know.
Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah.
Chief
sex. Yeah. Independent. What was it? Independent, safe, or discreet? Maybe I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. And then like, she will lick your ass for $50 or less because Corona's not transmitted through your butthole. is it? Like, but they do everything safe. Like, anyway, I'm not gonna go all into it. I have to work on this video. It's the editing is a hard part because it's a lot of short snippets of me doing different things, and so it really keeps up my editing skills. And I want to shoot it all on my phone just to learn how to use different media. I might as well be teaching myself shit while I'm not getting hired by interviewers. I had only one person contacted me from, I have a job up on careerbuilder.ca for like office work type stuff, and I have my insurance experience, 5 months that I lasted in the insurance industry, and the rest is all a bunch of lies, right?
Right.
One person contacted me, a scammer. That's it. Like,
sucks.
I am not getting any traction on these resumes. I'm just like, I'm going to have to go back to doing domination work, which it's really depressing to me. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just do it on the phone.
Whoa.
So that I used to do it on the phone on Night Flirt. It's like a phone sex service where they have a section for dominatrixes. I just got to put a few photos up, but it'll be, and I don't want to use my old name because I just want to get rid of all these fuckers, these soul suckers that were glomming onto me for these needy whiners that I refused and that kept bothering me for stuff I said. They just won't hear no from me. Yeah. They just it's like it just wears you down. Just fuck off, you know? So I'm going to have a new name. I guess some of these old people, these parasites, will find me anyway. But I'm going to be very narrow and focus just on a couple of things. Pain sluts, so people who want me to instruct them over the phone to hurt themselves, and guys who are into strap-on. Very narrow and focused. I don't want to do tease. I don't want to fucking edging or financial dom. These fucking guys are just absolutely annoying guys. Like, I just don't want to deal with them. They never send me any money anyways. If it's financial dom, it's always bullshit. I just don't want to waste my time with these people.
So the people who want you to instruct them to hurt themselves are more reliable than those looking for...
And it's easier for me to play that part. I don't have to play like I'm turned on. I don't have to play like, you see? I don't have to like be like none of that fucking whiny moany shit. I don't want to do it.
Right.
It's too degrading. Of course, yes, I'm still a masturbation tool, but it's more acceptable to how far I have to degrade myself. And plus, I don't have to wear any makeup. I can just be in my house coat on the phone, you know, pretending I'm all dressed up.
Do you remember a time where you degraded a client the most? Like, do you have one in particular where you were like, Jesus, that guy sunk low, or that girl, whoever you dealt with at that time?
No. I mean, some of them were, I went too far and they left. They just left the session because I was really telling them how I felt about them. And it was, because when you degrade a person, they still have to be turned on. So it's not real degradation. It's tweaked degradation, right? Of course. But when you really tell a person that they bore you, that nothing about them excites you, and you really don't show any sexual frisson about the whole thing, they get it pretty damn quick. Yeah, a couple of people have left. I try not to do that. I try to hold back from being too vicious. But that was sometimes why my shit didn't sell, because I was too real. Too degrading, too mean, with no sort of oops, haha, just joking edge to it. You know?
What does it take to be too mean to somebody who's looking to be punished? Like, I'm stunned that you could actually even do that. Like,
it's really hard to explain. I'm trying to explain it right now, and I'm failing. I know I am. Is to not, they want to feel like I'm getting off on it. What if I don't show any sexual titillation, no amusement, and I just tell them how fucking displeasing and degrading they are and how I don't enjoy this at all? They feel pretty degraded, and they're lying there naked and their dick is shriveling. Think about that. That's a tough spot. And I've done that when the person just annoyed me so much.
And wow! And so they took such a hit that they felt they just
went. There was no hope of them having a boner, so they left, because that's why they're there, to be degraded in such a way that they get a boner. That's not real degradation if you're not humiliated.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're really humiliated, are you going to have a hard dick? No. Do you see?
That's a skill.
The whole thing is so hypocritical. I fucking can't stand it. But yeah, I will try the phone, knowing full well that I'm not going to have a lot of clients, you know. I'll be lucky to make $200 US a month at first, you know. And I was never popular because I was never sexual enough. I'm not porny enough, right? So I'm not going to really make that much money, but some money is better than none.
Okay.
At this point, yeah.
All right.
Wow, we've talked a long time. I hope I'm not dragging this out too much.
Not at all. I actually just got in right to where I wanted to be. Actually,
perfect.
just right now.
Okay.
Because I actually was doing a little bit of preparation for this yesterday.
Oh.
And with you talking about pushing somebody so far that they hoped that they would be dominated, but then they ended up being actually dominated, and they're like, I wasn't actually comfortable with that.
Yeah, most people don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like to be really dominated. Who would enjoy that? Nobody would.
So for me, I can't. For me, I don't end up being able to see where that line is at all, because I see somebody who wishes to be dominated, and I'm like, oh, you pretty much could do everything, but murder them, right? Like,
no, not tactful.
But I guess they do have lines as well, and that was one of the things.
The sole purpose of them being dominated is them to get a hard dick.
What do you think somebody is like, do you think something causes them to have that, I guess, affliction?
It's interesting you say that, because my husband we call that being submissive, having a submissive streak. But my husband wasn't 100% submissive. Like, he was a really tough guy, fought karate, dealt with the Hells Angels, confronted a gang of robbers to get his equipment back. Like, this guy was no fucking pussy, but he had a submissive streak. But usually when you have that, it's not your entire character. I should hope not. Who wants to be with some loser? Nobody wants that, right? No woman wants a man who's completely submissive. But
unless she's completely empowered, unless she's manipulative.
Unless she's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Who else, But no, he had, from child on, he had these fantasies of women abusing him in a certain way, not in all ways, right? Of women mocking him and of using his physical strength for their needs. Okay. And he had, like, for example, he liked to be trampled. He liked pony play, where that's where the woman, through his physical strength, like, she rides on his shoulders, like when children play these games. So naturally he suddenly discovered he had a little boner at age 7 or whatever, as the neighborhood girls were piling up on him and walking all over him, and suddenly he got turned on. He's like, what the fuck is this? Like, it happens.
See, but the
theory is that it happens, when you first have a sexual arousal as a child, it could be anywhere.
It could be, it could
right?
be.
And that moment, and I don't know, is this triggered due to an event, or is it a random event and it's associated with the girls walking all over you, and therefore your boner is associated with this act, right? So is it that random, or would it always have been that? That's
would
what
you have
nobody
always
knows.
been drawn to that? But
yeah, like, a lot of people say early in their childhood they discovered this. But some people go, randomly I was online. This happens more and more often because you can see things online. Oh, I'm blocking the camera with my hand. Randomly I was online and I saw this video of XYZ, and suddenly I got a boner. I never would have even thought of it had I not come across it.
For me, it's the giant anal stuff. I can't deal with that shit.
What's that?
So that's what we're getting to. We'll get there in a second.
He's got some kind of nipple. Oh, yeah.
So
nipple
this
torture.
this guy, I was watching Your Mom's House podcast. If you haven't checked out Your Mom's House podcast, great podcast. Go see it. This guy is one of the men who they have as their cool guy.
Okay.
They have a cool guy club, and this guy, Norm Somerton, is part of said cool guy club.
Okay.
And
seems like a pretty chill dude to
his
me.
thing is to be dominated and to be the submissive, as you were describing.
Yeah.
And
I see. He's got the tits.
Mostly, I guess, just what I was intrigued by is like what level of extreme you see this as, because.
Well, I think it's extreme because he's committed to the tits, right? Like, most men don't commit that far. They just want to wear some lingerie, have slut written, and make lipstick on their face for an hour or whatever, and be fucked up the ass. But this guy is committing a lot more because he's actually giving himself tits. You see?
He is.
And that's not comfortable. That's painful. And he's got the nail polish on.
It looks painful.
Yeah.
He's squealing as well. I don't think you can hear him.
No, I don't want to hear it.
But the audience can hear him, and
that's
like he's got decent tits. I'm stunned that he got those naturally.
Yeah, well, you can create that, right?
Oh, it looks like it hurts.
And maybe I don't know if he did saline injections to get that. Because some people do that, right?
It looks like he's stuck with just that wine glass method.
This guy is quite committed to his fetish, and he has clearly gone like to the point of transforming himself to some degree, right?
He tattooed the word pig on his forehead.
Yeah. I can't read that.
You can't read it, but I'm just informing you so you know. There's a giant...
No, but I think yes, I see it. Yeah. But you know what I think, though? To some degree, I don't mean to be prejudiced. I do think it's a little bit of a sexual illness. Just as any extreme sexual predilection, I find is a little bit sexual illness. Like someone who has to fuck all the time. I think they're a little bit mentally ill, personally.
Okay.
You know, or someone to this extreme. I mean, I'm sure this guy's a great guy. That's me personally. Even myself, I question, is it a little bit sexually ill that I'm asexual? Like, it's a little bit not normal. I'm not saying it's like you're a sicko. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that man is a sicko either. But I'm saying it's a little bit sexually unhealthy. I find that.
And I think you touched on something there.
Not that he feels that he's miserable and that's why he's doing it. Not at all.
No, I don't think you think that. But you touched on something there that I relate to as well, where you were basically describing that we are all kind of struggling to find what we see as a healthy sexual
Like, do I feel healthy towards sex? No. I feel I have hang-ups and anger issues, and I don't feel like I'm healthy and comfortable with sex because I don't enjoy it very much. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with me, but wouldn't my life be more pleasant if I enjoyed sex more? Yes, I think so.
Okay. So do you think that there's things you can do to perhaps enjoy sex more? Or?
No, I think I just don't really enjoy it that much. Like, I don't think it is a curable condition.
Real guy.
Okay, well, if it's a condition at all, it's got to be in some form treatable, right?
Well, in the past, I tried to pretend that I was way more sexual and to portray myself as more sexual.
Okay.
As a smokescreen for the fact that I often, unless I'm really into a guy, I have to overcome revulsion. I feel a bit repulsed by sex, to be honest. I always fucking did. Now, is that linked to the fact that I was molested twice as a child? Maybe. Or maybe I always just kind of did. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to, like, you know what I don't want to do? I'm not in that nation or that generation of people who believe, fix me. I kind of feel like you're born with things that aren't that great, and you live with it. That's part of who you are. Why do I have to fix every single fucking thing about me? You know?
That's interesting.
Like, I have had sex that I enjoyed, but it is rare. So I know I'm capable of it, but it has to be just the right person, just the right elements. I have to be in the mood. Like, why am I going to go through all these efforts of finding it? And I don't find orgasms that, oh my God, I can have them. They feel great. But I'm not going to do God knows what to come, you know?
Yeah, so for you, it wouldn't be the best moment of your life wouldn't be described as a moment of coming. It would be it'd be a moment of some other cool thing.
Oh, the best moment in my life was hanging out with my husband and my sister at the beach, high on MDMA.
Oh,
shit! The best day of my life.
Oh, that's good. You had good times with your sister too.
Oh, we had good times too. But
what'd you guys get into on MDMA?
Like, what did we get into?
Yeah.
Well, we did have. My husband did fuck. We shared my husband a little bit.
Yeah. You and your sister?
Yeah,
That's twisted.
Well, my sister and I didn't interact. Oh my God, no way. But my husband fucked both of us. Yeah.
All right, that's a little weird in itself.
But we would dance, and we just had great times with my husband, and we had like an imaginary society, and we all have these fake names, and my pet octopus that I told you about earlier before is related to these characters in our imaginary lives that we had. So we have a real bond, and that was the best day of my life. I'll never forget it. Hot dogs it was a nude beach, but I never go nude at nude beaches because I just don't want to. So I wore a bikini, but my husband went nude, and my sister wore a bathing suit as well. But it was a nude beach, and it was just the perfect day. 28 degrees Celsius, diving in the cool water, the hot dogs, making out with him making out with me and my sister. Like, it was just the perfect day. So there was something sexual about it now that you mention it, but I didn't have an orgasm, and I didn't give a fuck, you know.
Right. No, and I guess was that like a public beach?
Yeah.
So was there a lot of people on that beach also having sex, or?
Oh, we didn't have sex on the beach. We went back home to have it. Yeah, I wouldn't have sex on the beach in front of people. No, I'm not an exhibitionist. I do not like. I hate.
I mean,
sex
a
in
nude
public.
beach sounds like an exhibitionist.
No, God, no. No, that's the other thing, the misconception of being a sex trade worker. People think, oh, well, you were a stripper, you must be an exhibitionist. Not at all. Yeah. It's my job to dance. I love striptease in public, but I'm not going to striptease in a bar. Like, ugh. I want to be in a controlled environment. No one can come up to me. No one can touch me. I'm paid to do it. Like, and I have my props and all my creative material, and I'm doing all my moves on the pole. That's like
we put this mystery together. What an
exciting to me. But I'm not coming from it. Like, it's not sexual, but I get a high off of controlling an audience's emotions. I think that's what it is.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally
that's
agree.
what the high is controlling the audience through sexual tease, but not actually giving anything. I don't want to have to give myself to the client. And I find when you do like one-on-one sessions as a dominatrix or as a hooker, you have to give yourself to the client, and that takes your power away. You have to talk to them. You have to say what they want to say. You have to babysit them. Immediately you lose all your power. But when you're stripping, you have all the power. Big difference. That's why I enjoyed stripping, but not the others.
Because the people who are watching you can't have some form of possession of you.
No, they cannot own me in any way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's you find that's empowering.
Yeah, that was empowering. The only thing I didn't like is the level of nudity. I would have preferred to keep my G-string on.
Okay.
I find showing the pussy kind of crass. Of course, I did it as elegantly as possible. Whatever. I just found that showing my tits, I'm fine with that. I think tits look nice. I find pussies look ugly. I always did.
I think genitals in general.
I don't find genitals attractive.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I've never.
Like that whole movement. Oh, my pussy's beautiful. I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Generally, I am not the most attracted to a girl based on her genitals.
Yeah, it's how your dick feels inside of her. It's sexually, and then also
frequently, it's how she looks dressed.
Really?
I mean, even scantily clad is kind of better than fully nude, I find.
I find that too, actually.
Yeah, like if you're showing some side boob, I'm a little more aroused than I would be if I saw the nipple.
I think it's more. There's a bit. I find it's more.
It's like
there's a bit of more erotic tension when they're not fully naked. I agree.
And I don't know what that is. Like I find I get it even when if I'm seeking something that I do want to be aroused by. I'll frequently avoid porn sites and just go to sites where they just take pictures of hot artists or actresses or actors, I should say.
I see what you're saying.
And they're fully dressed, but they'll have some large cleavage or something. I'm like, and then I'll see that, be really aroused, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I should masturbate or something, and then I'll go to a porn site. I'll see somebody who's fucking spread eagle.
Yeah, I find that just not very.
And I feel it in my body. I'm just kind of like, oof, that's not the same thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of gross.
I feel the same way about it. Actually, I knew a guy. He was a manager of a strip club, and him and I used to hang out sometimes, and we had a little fling for a while there. And I really liked him, a British guy. He would jerk off. He goes, I don't even watch porn. He goes, I jerk off to fashion magazines. Isn't that? I was like, I guess he's not the only one, though. I'm sure he wasn't, because it was back in the day. You had Kate Moss was his favorite model. He wasn't even into big tits, which is funny because Kate Moss had, she was very skinny, right?
There's a threshold. There's
a threshold of too skinny. But that's
too skinny and too
choice.
big a tits also.
Yeah, I find if the skin is really taut, it looks gross. Yeah, it's not the size that's a turn off. It's that taut, tight
somebody
skin.
Somebody put a water balloon in there.
It looks like it could almost burst on you.
Yeah, it's trying to get out.
Oh, I find that really repulsive.
No, I don't find it. I've noticed a lot, especially in porn, that there's these boob jobs that they're just big, perfectly round. They've got that. They've got that gutter on both sides. It almost looks like you could do cleavage on the top as well as on the bottom.
I see what you're saying.
And it's just whoa, what are they attached by a string or something? There's a water balloon attached by a string.
It looks almost painful. Some boob jobs are beautiful. They look great, but some are just.
In the community,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh.
But where were we talking about just before we got into the?
Well, the husband story with your
Oh, best day of my life, yeah. And the other best day of my life was a moment when I was doing ballet on stage. Like, that was my close second, I think.
And you were pretty young then.
Yeah, I mean, I had to quit when I was 17 due to all the injuries. But my best moment, I was 13. I won this competition, and I remember it was the best. I was so on time with the music, because it's so important to listen and express. You are a conduit for the music, not the other way around, right? So, and I was so on time, and it felt like, I've heard athletes talk about this. Like, I think Wayne Gretzky talked about this, where you're so in tune with the mechanics of what you're doing that time slows down.
That flow state.
And you're in slow-mo. And I was so in control. It was such, I'll never forget that. That was my second best memory.
That's a flow state, as I've heard it described.
And I've never had that speaking or acting or doing comedy. Never.
It's happened a couple of times for me on large projects.
Okay.
So I did this project last year on the Botanical Gardens.
Okay.
We had to put a big tortoise together, all these Japanese lanterns, and it was like a giant tortoise, like 15 feet in diameter. It was like almost 300 pounds of wire that had to be like just little short pieces, like tack welded.
Meticulous.
Yeah, and I remember it was like 3 weeks the total that the project took me, and I was literally for 8 hours every day for 3 weeks on that, nothing else, no shift, no change, nothing, no change up. And I just remember at the end of it, like looking back at what my headspace was like throughout all the hours of doing it, and I was like, wow, you were in a flow state for like 3 weeks. Like, you just show up to work and you were just laser focused. Nothing else could shift your focus. I wasn't looking at the clock. I wasn't distracted. I was just like, this is just moving step by step, totally enthralled by it, you know?
Yeah.
And I do wish I could force myself to find that in a bunch of places.
Yeah, I know. It's like what we were talking about earlier. I want to find fucking passion. Where is it?
It's weird.
It's
a
gone
weird thing.
for 25 years. I'm sick of it.
There's what my dad always said. My dad would always tell me, he'd be like, all you have to do is find the thing that you love the most, and you'll never work.
I'm trying to find
You'll never work a day in your life. I'm like, Dad, I'm trying shit here, all right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying. None of it's working.
And what if, in my occasion, you found it and you can't do it because of physical injury?
And it was taken from you. That would be.
And also, to be realistic, like, I'm 44 now. Hardly any ballerina makes it to age 44. Usually most ballerinas by age 30, their bodies are through the ringer, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like,
so
they don't...
I'd be in this situation anyways, like, even if had I been able to do the ballet.
Yeah, but you could have had like some kind of prosperous career.
Oh, I could have had.
You could have been manipulated by Harvey Weinstein. Like, come on.
No.
I would like to thank our sponsor.
I wouldn't have even wanted to do movies. I would have wanted to just do ballet. Trust me, I had no interest in acting until I can do ballet anymore. Zero interest in it.
I'm sure there's those guys in the ballerina world. Those fuckers show up every day.
Oh God, there's lechas and everything works, because in a lot of the ballet world, it's the men that run the companies, right? And there's stories always of sexual abuse, teacher, coach, student, this in any, like in gymnastics, like in sports, it's the same everywhere.
Yeah, you can be manipulated by anybody.
I never had that experience in ballet, though. I never had
somebody.
I never had any sexual innuendo, nothing. Yeah, I was lucky.
Well, that's a good experience then.
Oh, ballet was entirely positive for me. Yeah, except the last year when I was dancing totally injured at l'École Supérieure de Danse du Québec, depressed out of my fucking mind because I knew that I was going to have to quit, that I couldn't get over the injuries. But
yeah, that would be sad. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's tough. I had a lot of experience with dancers in my high school, actually, because I went to an arts high school.
Okay, like me. Yeah.
So you had to like audition for it, and they were like, you can't come in because you're not good.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's a lot of rejection in that, so I guess I'm used to that. But in ballet, it's different because I was one of the good ones.
Yeah, you don't.
It was like
you don't get that
it'd be
rejection.
like if I was one of the good comics in Montreal. It's like, I know I'm good. I know, like, of course I'm accepted here and there and there because I'm good.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't have that confidence or any of it.
But I remember being frustrated because it seemed all the dancers kind of had their own clique. And,
I suppose so.
and
Yeah.
it seemed as though anybody trying to get into that clique either had to be like, I guess, of their same mindset like them. The idea of like presentation, of like them, or they had to also be a dancer. You know, okay, so the only guys that ever hung out with them were also dancers, and unfortunately, those guys never got to interact with the other groups of men or males because they were just, I guess, not.
Well, with us,
fitted.
I was only in this arts high school for 11 and 12. We didn't hang around for lunch, so there was no cliques formed. In fact, I remember when I went to the graduation ceremony, a lot of people went, "Who are you? Are you in the school?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been here for 2 years." You know, they didn't even know I was there. I was like, "Oh, I didn't care," you know. Yeah, because I was never there at lunch. I was on my way to ballet, right, which was at another location. It wasn't in the school.
So then you grew up in Belgium.
No, I didn't grow up in Belgium.
But you said you were here at age 6.
Oh no, I moved here when I was, I think, 2 months old. But but my
That's how I show love. You know what's interesting?
my mom didn't speak English, and my dad was gone all the time. So we grew up. When I say we, I say we because it's me and my twin sister. We grew up not speaking English till about age 4, when we picked it up on the block from the other kids, right? So by the time we went to school in French first. So we didn't really formally learn English till grade 3. But I could speak it a little bit, but I didn't have any friends. I sort of stuck to myself. I didn't really.
Bit of an outcast.
Yeah, but an outcast from day one. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a similar situation. It was the English kids and the French kids. I was one of the French kids, unfortunately, and I was also I think I was the only ginger in my school.
Oh, what? How's that possible? Really?
They were rare.
Yeah.
At least I was the only one, I think, that had like the bright hair and like I
remember
had
a few
back then.
redheads in my class.
Really? In one class?
Yeah.
Jesus, you got the mutant gene over
Actually,
there.
in grade 4, we had 3 sets of twins.
Wow.
Yeah.
3.
And we all were similar looking. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were one of the 3.
One of the 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty unusual, right?
That's pretty unusual for sure. Did you ever find you got the twin mindset where
It was hard.
Dream sharing or whatever?
No, none of that. I found being a twin very hard. My sister deeply resents me because I was the more visible and outgoing twin, even though I wasn't outgoing. But she was bullied really badly in high school, me less so. They split us up in high school. I don't know why they want to split up twins. What fucking difference does it make? But she had a really bad time in high school. I had a bad time, but not nearly as bad as her. And often she's very socially, like, my social skills aren't the best either, just because I'm a bit blunt and I'm very honest. And sometimes I make people uncomfortable. I realize I do it. No, don't.
I'm kidding. I know you're blunt, Sid.
But I'm not doing it to be mean. It's just,
I get that too.
But anyway, it makes people uncomfortable. Well, she's a lot worse, and she comes off often sounding very condescending. So people really don't like that. And what I hated about the twin thing is people would attribute things that she had said to me.
Yeah.
That I was embarrassed about, that I found she really was not diplomatic with these people, and she made them feel like shit just because they were very into boys or whatever, and they were looking at fashion magazines, and she gives this offhand comment that was just not warranted, basically telling these girls that she thought they were ridiculous, and it came out of nowhere. These girls hadn't offended her, like there was no cause for it, and I would be lumped in with it constantly with her weird comments and stuff, and that I really hated.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. I was lucky.
I mean, not that I was this paragon of social grace myself, but
there was times where your sister crossed the line and you felt like you didn't want to have to stand
and
for
then
that.
it was attributed to me as well. Like we were treated as one person a lot. I didn't like that.
I mean, that can
one birthday card, one not from my parents, but from other people.
One birthday card.
Yeah, one birthday card. Yeah.
I guess you were both born on the same day, but
like that's just
the
cheap
twin same thing.
shit.
Yeah. And
so
then
sometimes
for her to kind of
and my
follow
mom
you
would always
through-
make us share everything.
Yeah, like
That
you
was
were saying,
annoying.
for her to kind of follow you through most of like the things that you were passionate about.
Yeah,
Was there
yeah.
stuff that she liked that you got dragged through as well?
No.
No, not at all.
She just totally, I guess she discovered art around age 19 after she quit ballet, and we had to go to university from my mom. She made us go to university.
CNN is
You're
not
gonna-
covering.
I have a lot
And
of fun things to show
she
you.
discovered a passion. Like, she's an artist now, right?
Life's too heavy these days.
So she finally found her passion, but while she was a teenager, she made no attempt, and she blames me for this somehow. She's very bitter about this. She made no attempt to find her own passions. I don't know, or she didn't dare assert them. I mean, I don't know.
And you say she blamed you for that. So there was a point where you discussed it with her, and she felt that you held her back from reaching her passion.
She felt that
finding
me and Mom would disrespect her and would look down upon her for quitting ballet. I was just fucking hoping she'd quit the whole time. So she was and my mom was very hard on her, but she lumps me in with this. My mom was very hard on her for being so not feminine. My mom was very big on being feminine. Okay, as you have gathered by now. My sister was really not feminine, doesn't look feminine, there's nothing feminine about her. She's very butch. And my mom was so embarrassed by this, and she was constantly critiquing my sister, how she spoke, how she acted, how she looked. Like constantly ragging her on it, and she just grew up to be really bitter and angry. And
Well, I mean, you put a kid in a box, you know. It's not,
yeah,
you can't really-
and then sometimes I'd make fun of her because she would make fun of me. So like it was only in retaliation. It wasn't out of because she'd make fun of me, or she'd try to beat me up physically a lot when I was a kid.
Yep.
Because she hated my
Why
guts
is
for some
your
reason.
so
It just never. This just went. This is long history. I don't even know where it all comes from.
I remember the physical violence as a child when I was young, and I remember wrestling with like cousins and stuff, and it was.
Right.
I always knew
Isn't that a guy thing though?
Kind of, but,
Yeah.
but I mean, I've met a few girls who are kind of aggressive like that.
Oh, okay,
Actually,
okay.
why I even bring it up, I had a girl who I recently saw like last year,
Yeah.
and she particularly was eager whenever we got playful, she would want to wrestle and like play fight like I used to when I was young.
Oh wow.
What I learned when I was young
Yeah.
about play fighting is that somebody always takes it too far.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. No matter how hard you try, somebody's going to get hit too hard, and then they're going to hit harder because of that, and then
And
it's
then it
just
escalates.
it escalates straight up from there. And
Yeah.
I know where that goes, and I'm not going to be an adult in a situation where I'm hitting another person, you know? Like,
Yeah.
So I knew as soon as basically she got into that, I was just like, all right, I gotta call this here. Like I it's fun. I'm interested in a female who is kind of, I guess, tomboyish like that wants to wrestle like that. That's kind of cool. That's kind of attractive to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go to jail for hitting a woman.
Yeah.
So you really
Yeah.
can't, like, we can't just keep pushing it like further and further, you know? Like there's
Yeah.
a certain extent I'm like she was like, all you ever do is like restrain me, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna fucking incapacitate you, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like what do you want me to do, like hurt
Maybe she
you?
doesn't realize like that some women don't realize they're not as strong as they think they are.
I
Do you
mean,
know?
I showed her pretty clearly. I was like, come at me with all you got, you know?
Yeah,
like, come,
yeah.
like take me out, and all she ended up every time, she just ended up like pinned down her wrists and my hands.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. This is where it ends every time. 'Cause
Yeah.
if it doesn't end there every time, then it's not gonna end well, you know?
Yeah.
So that's actually the first relationship where I had to like I had to use those experiences as a child, where I was like, okay, you can't like
Sorry,
no
I keep
fighting.
hitting my mic. I don't know if that's gonna pick up.
It's coming from behind us. It's
So
okay.
just one thing. I'm just gonna check.
It's
Freaking 4 o'clock.
Do you have a place to be?
Well, I have to get ready. I have to fix some computer problems and plan for my episode tomorrow that I'm shooting.
Okay, all right.
So I wanted to do. I don't like doing it at night because I don't have the patience to deal with computer
It's
problems.
no issue. I mean, I didn't have a plan.
I didn't realize we were talking for 2 hours.
I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Hopefully, I think it was. I hope it was interesting. I think it was.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
I mean, if you guys have found it interesting, I'm sure you'll be back on. I mean, I have be bringing
Well, we
all
have
kinds
so
of people.
there could be all kinds of shit we could talk about. There's so much.
Tons more, and I think it'd be good to have you back on when we're actually doing comedy again too. 'Cause it'll feel like we're actually comics again.
Yeah, I know. I don't feel like I'm a comic. I never really feel like I'm a comic though.
Well,
because
you
I'm
get
not
there.
At heart.
No, I mean once you're doing 3 like open mics a night, you kind of are set.
I was doing that, but
as soon as you talk to somebody else who's not doing 3 open mics a night, you feel pretty quick that you're a comic versus them. You know?
I must say, just quickly to as much as comedy scares me and makes me uncomfortable, and sometimes it's horrible, and I quit for a while because it's so depressing, and then I get into it, and then I do well, and you know how it goes, right? Well, I really do miss. I just want to try some new material, you know?
Try some dumb shit. Just say something stupid.
I just want to try new material and work on have that feeling of working on a set and making it better and seeing the progress. And
I'd love to go up there just to eat shit right now.
I don't want to eat shit.
To eat it. Just feel that audience.
No, I
hit
don't
that
want
punchline. Feel the audience just go, oh, he's not funny.
You're perverse. I do not want to eat it. I want to get a few laughs. God damn it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I strive for laughs as well, but I think I'm so deprived of it that I would take eating it.
You would take eating shit. Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
Okay, well,
all right.
Sid, this has been wonderful. I hope you have a great time.
Yes, I hope so too. I think
planning your videos, getting through the metro. God, good luck.
Oh, the metro's a bit weird these days.
Oh, I don't think I could do that metro, man. Woo!
There's a few weird characters, you know, and they stand out more because there's not all the other normal people on the train, you know. I don't know if it's still recording or not. Oh, is it? Okay. There's not the normal people, so it's just you and a few choice weirdos and then a few normal people. So there's not that buffer of other people between you and the weirdos.
Filtered out all the normies.
You just got to be a little bit more vigilant.
Oh, wow. All right, well, cool. If you guys had a good time, leave a comment. You know, Sid's, you can find her at Too Late Now?
Too Late Now,
on
exclamation point YouTube, but it is hard to find because
it is hard to find because the algorithm
you
doesn't
might
care.
start, Sid Harlow, Too Late Now. Somehow you'll find me somewhere, I suppose. Facebook, when I post a video, I post a link and it goes to my YouTube channel. So on Facebook, I'm Sid Harlow, or I'm Sid Harlow 75. I'm not sure. Oops. Something like that.
Sounds good. Sid, it was great having you. And this has been Falling Wood. Hope you guys had a good time. Thanks a lot, guys.
Sister went down to the mountain.
You know, Falling Wood sounds like Following Wood, which is kind of cool.
Highway, bruh.
But yeah, I kind of